So, I wanted to talk about something that I just recently decided to do, which is to install a Yamaha R6 throttle body. Now, the FZ07 obviously works. It's a great motorcycle out of the box, and it really doesn't need much of anything. Half the fun is changing your shit around and figuring out what works and what doesn't work for you. Now, let me preface this by saying that I am a novice. I've been riding for about 3 months now. I took the MSF course. That is basically the extent of my abilities, and I really don't know what I don't know. So I'm learning every time I get on the bike, trying to do it as safely as possible, and always trying to do the right thing. So, the Yamaha R6 throttle body. The reason why I decided to do that was because I was trying, or have been trying, to learn how to rev match. And rev matching when downshifting is something that's not essential, so I'm told, but it can definitely help you control the bike by controlling your speed, which allows you to corner and take turns and just basically just do things that much better and easier and smoother on the bike. Now, anyone that's ridden an FZ07 knows that there is a shit ton of engine braking. So part of the reason why I wanted to learn how to rev match was to better control my speed and not do the constant shuffle forward, i.e. every time I would slowly let out the clutch, you know, the engine revs didn't necessarily match the actual speed of the bike, and you get lurched forward. So I wanted to change that by learning how to rev match. So one of the things that I was having trouble with the stock throttle is that no matter how much I tried to adjust my my free play on the clutch, I'm sorry, not the clutch, my free play on the throttle bodies, basically I would have to essentially turn the throttle this much to actually engage the throttle itself. So I wouldn't actually affect the RPMs until I turned the actual throttle body maybe 10 degrees, which is a lot, or more than 10 degrees. So I was finding that, you know, between throttle off and throttle on, I had to basically move my wrist about this much instead of a gradual easing of the throttle forward. So basically what I'm saying is that when I would go to blip the throttle on my downshifts, blipping this did nothing to the bike. It wouldn't raise the RPMs. I would have to blip like this, and that's a lot of movement to get the throttle to actually go. Now, as a novice, I liked having that play a little bit, because if I'm at a stoplight and I just happen to let out the clutch and I've got too much throttle going, if you pop that clutch, you're obviously going to jerk forward or go end over end, and that's obviously not something that you want to do. So having that extra play, or that total amount of play in the throttle, or total throttle range, is probably a good thing for a beginner. I'm not a guy that likes to take off at lights. I very, slowly ease out the clutch and roll on the throttle, and I know what my skills are as far as that goes, because I've been driving manual cars for 10 years. So I've got a pretty good grasp of what it is to slowly let the clutch out and roll on the throttle. So I don't think I'm going to have any problems there, but it is something to be aware of, in that when you do switch the R6 throttle body, the spacing, or the gap between throttle on and throttle off, is very much reduced. So let's put it this way, okay, I'll make it nice and easy. And I'm just throwing numbers out here, these are arbitrary numbers. The OEM FZ07 throttle body, let's just say, has 180 degrees of travel. Obviously it doesn't, but again, we're using arbitrary numbers. It's got 180 degrees of travel. The R6 throttle body probably has about 130. So it's very much reduced. So what I was finding was that when I would actually get on the throttle, if I needed to, for whatever reason, go wide open with the old throttle body, I was having to bring my wrist actually underneath the bar. So it was not really conducive to very quickly shifting, because again, when you shift, you have to roll off the throttle and get back on. So I was just not enjoying the act of basically taking my wrist and essentially having to roll it all the way underneath the bar. With this, I find that I can get to full open throttle with essentially a level wrist. So I do like that. Wide open throttle for me is a lot easier to obtain. Again, I'm not racing. I'm also not an asshole that's doing 600 miles an hour on open roads. But again, I want the capability to, I want the ability to have an easier access to wide open throttle should I need it. A lot of this stuff kind of ties into guns. You don't necessarily need a 1:6 optic, but it's nice to have because you have that better range. So, you know, having the ability to switch from 1 to 6x power is good. Having the ability to go from 0 to wide open throttle that much easier is one of the reasons why I went to this R6 throttle body mod. So to me this was great. The install was really super straightforward. There's basically 2 screws right here underneath the throttle body housing that you take off. You take off your old grip, you take off the old throttle body, and then you go ahead and just replace the parts, close it back up, and put on your new grip, and you're done. All in all, it took 15 minutes. I've never done this before. This is my first time, but it took 15 minutes, and it was super, super, super easy to do. So if you want to do it, I say by all means, you just need to walk into this understanding that it is going to make the bike more responsive, potentially more responsive, and potentially more twitchy for somebody that's still trying to figure out how to actually work the throttle. I'm one of those guys that's still figuring it out, but I figure it's a challenge, and in my mind, I don't think I did anything unsafe because I still believe that I'm operating within my skill set. Some people might disagree. If you disagree, by all means, let me know. If you guys want anything specific, to see anything, by all means, again, let me know. I will try and do my best, and I hope this made some sense for you guys that were considering doing this modification, and basically getting an opportunity to see what the throw is like, whereas that is full throttle. Before I would have had to rotate my wrist underneath. So again, very cool mod, Yamaha R6 throttle body modification to the Yamaha FZ07. If you like the video, guys, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Enjoy it.